People watching this programme should understand, for me, in 2006, this is the toughest challenge in world sport. 8 grand finals on the bounce, in front of big crowds, most are hostile. What do you come over here for, to embarrass yourselves? They want you to fail, because you're English. Rugby league is probably one of these most gladiatorial sports you'll ever encounter. It's akin, and I don't mean to be in any way, shape, challenge the things that our military people do, but it's the nearest thing to war in a sporting environment. It's full-on battle. It's very, very physical. It's, in a simple way, it's British Bulldogs with rules, but the rules are they paint the field north to south, and you have to carry the ball that way, which leads to a lot of physical collisions, a lot of high impacts, high speed, breathtakingly good skills. Many nations claim to be the warrior race. New Zealand, Samoa, Tonga, all have this cultural identity as to why they should be deemed to be the fighting nation. But the Irish and the Scots and the Welsh and certainly the English have been at the forefront of a lot of certainly tribal conflicts that gives us our own particular identity and own culture. And that's why, for me, that the Great Britain Lions and the Rugby League Lions come together as a special group and a special band of people. And that love-hate relationship that we have with Australia is vibrant in rugby league. When you're growing up in the parts of the world where I live in the north of England, part and parcel of your ambition as a rugby person, a rugby league person particularly, is to knock the Aussies off. Here's why, particularly in 2006, the Tri-Nations is a tough ask for us. We play 10 more games than our competitors do in Australia. So the National Rugby League is traditionally 22 games. We've got to play 28, 29, 30 games. We've also then the playoff games and the Challenge Cup. So your best players are probably playing up to 38 games a season. That's 16 more than our competitors. So at the end of the year, there's a bit of fatigue. 60% of the playing staff in 2006 came from the 2 teams that competed in our Challenge Cup final in the UK. So they've had all the playoff games, all the high-intensity games and the grand final. Less than a week after that, you're then sticking them into an environment where you play New Zealand, Australia, New Zealand, Australia, and then you might get to the final. Honestly, people watching this programme should understand, for me, in 2006, this is the toughest challenge in world sport. 60% of your team have 8 grand finals on the bounce, in front of big crowds, most are hostile. Wow, what a challenge. It was a tough ask. The spotlight in Australia is like, I can only liken it to Premiership football here now. Everybody talks about rugby league in Sydney. On the eastern seaboard, there's nothing else. Leon Price had inadvertently said that Blackpool Beach was better than Bondi. Well, it caused a huge furore. It was national headlines. Who was this Pom that dare bemoan the fact that he's on Bondi Beach and he could be back in Blackpool?
What did Leon say about the weather? Leon said it's great.
You're constantly being belittled publicly.
Brian, how do you answer Phil Gould reckons you guys haven't got what it takes, and I say that respectfully?
Because it's not on television, it's in the newspapers. If it's not on the newspapers, it's on the radio. If it's not on the radio, it's when you go for a glass of water at the local off-licence and somebody gives you a gobful and a spray saying, you're not very good, you Poms, are you? What do you come over here for, to embarrass yourselves? And so you cop it all the time.
What I've seen of of the tour over here so far, there's a few blokes that really struggle to make it in the NRL.
The Aussie press were particularly good at that, because they want you to fail, basically, because you're English, and they want to embarrass you.
Just be competitive and go right for the full 80 minutes and be as tough and as hard as the Australians have been over the years. Because
you're given no chance, and because they're quite belittling at times and bemoan the fact that the Super League is nowhere near as good as the NRL, then it does steel you and it does fuel you.
Nobody can actually say this is anybody's game. On paper, it's probably all Australia.
Don't get distracted by what other people say. It's about what we say and what we do. And the players are pretty confident. The day specifically, going to the game, you know, the environment in the team, the little bits of crackliness and the electricity amongst the players, and everybody bangs on about momentum in sport now. Oh, it's the difference between, you know, if somebody gets momentum, particularly in rugby league, you get momentum and you can't win. And I don't think it's true. I think you knock off the U and the M off the end, and it's moments in sport. The Aussies were like the Aussies are, slinging beer cans at you and spraying everything at you and making sure you feel quite unwelcome. You could hear the noise of the crowd in the changing room that we were in, particularly. It was a violent atmosphere. You literally could get a knife and cut it like that, and it was awesome.
On the big stage, yeah.
Process, possession and percentages were basically, nobody needs to know the intimacies of that, but all the week we'd been practicing with a process, and if we got our percentages right on completions and things like that, we'd get the final P. I just remember I sat them all down and literally, you could, one of those situations, people talk about this pin. What's this pin that drops? Well, you could have heard one. They were all like this, and yeah, we're ready to play, and I just think, oh, you've got it wrong. They're all too anxious. I remember looking at Brian Carney and Adrian Morley, and this bead of sweat just going, boom. It was like one of these films where you watch a Hitchcock film where you think, I'm in a Hitchcock film. God, I don't know if they're ready to play, these blokes, because all you could hear was the humdrum of the crowd and the boom, the boom, the boom. And I'm looking at them saying, it's the piece and it's percentage, you've got that. And they're going, yeah, we've got that. Got the process that we go through will give us the final P, which is I've no idea what the third P is. Well, Brian Carney, the little Irishman, he just fell off his chair laughing, and everybody else joined in, and everybody started slapping each other on the back, and they were getting up to go out to play.
Word has been said enough. Action today. Let's go.
Honestly, if the psychologist should have been there, we all got different views on the psychologists and sports psychologists, but I don't think he could have planned it better. The funniest moment, we played a warm-up game some years, you know, with Gareth Hock in the team, because I remember some of the team had to get up to speed, and I remember him coming to me after the Newcastle, we played up in Newcastle against a select Newcastle district team, and Gareth Hock came up to me and said, Nobby, he says, what, do we have to sing that song again next week? Song? I can't remember. We had a team song. I think we had a team song, and I'm thinking, well, we don't have one yet. I said, no, what's the problem? Then Terry New walked past. Oh, it means the national anthem. So I went, well, Gareth, you'd have to sing it again if you don't want to, mate, but the rest of us will be doing it. Willie Mason was on the scene for Australia, their enforcer, if you want. You know, he picked for a certain thing. He was one of the world's best players as well. He can play rugby, but he didn't mind a few verbals and a few. So we knew about Willie, but, you know, we had presence ourselves, and, you know, Stuart Fielding, for goodness sake, was the front row of the year. So everybody was gunning for Stuart. You know, after not too few many minutes, Willie unloaded on Stuart and leathered him, you know, put him on his backside. Probably the first time in his career, Stuart. Would have levelled anybody. Muhammad Ali himself, Joe Frazier, name any, Lennox Lewis, name heavyweight, they probably would have gone down with a punch from Mason. Boom! Oh, didn't miss, did he? Hit him right on the button.
He should be out. It is a disgrace. He should be in the stands now.
I think the expression is it was all on. It got the right kind of reaction from our players, you know. I'm not sure it did Stuart a whole lot of good, the invincibility going, if you like. Modern medicine and the protocols in sport now should have suggested we should have taken Stuart off the field straight away. He played on for 20 minutes. Wow. He cuckoo. He was like one of these Disney films. There's the cats and the mice and the clouds and he got walloped.
You're quite a bad blow, Stuart. Yeah, you can't remember what happened.
Was it the moment in that game where our boys went, you ain't winning this game, boys? I tend to think it probably was. Not too long afterwards, Willie's out again, Willie Mason here, and he's taking Sean Long off the ball. You know, he's whacked him round the head and didn't miss. After he'd passed the ball, now, one of the things in rugby league, once you've passed the ball, your body relaxes. And Willie's given the big around the melon, around the conch. and I'm not missed. And again, only being spoken to by the referee. And you know what, deep down I think I probably did mention at half-time that if you get a chance to have a crack at this bloke, you've got my permission. Sean Long, he was having a wow of a game, as it happens, and then he threw the big interception. I think Ben Hornby picked him off, the Australian halfback, and went the length. And so we've had a smack in the chops. Stuart Field's had a smack in the chops. Sean Long's had a smack around the conker, and he's bleeding. Longy throws the intercept, Ben Hornby, and Carney chases him and goes twang. Off goes his hamstring, and he's gone. And there was no deflection, you know, from the whole week. With some cracking players in the team, the O'Loughlyns and the Hawks and the Ellises and the Peacocks and the Newtons and the Robies off the bat, all these players, senior. There was a lot going for us, but we didn't know how well it was going for us until we were under the pressure of the first 20 minutes. Well, it was Longy particularly after a great carry from Jamie Peacock, I think, and made a bust down the left-hand side off a play, and Wello came back on the inside to go under the sticks. And there were a few hush moments in the crowd. They all went, well, they're sitting on the script. We're supposed to beat this mob by 30 or 40. I think from then on in, I was pretty confident that we could get a result. Jamie Peacock's try for me was probably epitomises what he's become recognised in our game. Never say die and never be stopped kind of attitude. He carried 4 blokes over. If the Aussies watch that 1,000 times, they'll be going, well, why didn't you stop him, and why didn't you stop him? And Gilly came on his characteristic runs that all his career's been renowned for. He just skipped in between little holes until he found a big enough hole to get through. And because he was quick, I don't know if they realise how quick he was. The tradition in these games is that, yeah, we'll give the Poms a go and then we'll beat them in the last 5 minutes. I think they're fully expected to. And then Longy picks the ball up, releases someone else, and then Gareth Rain is going into the corner with no time on the clock to take the game beyond the Australians. Unbelievable. I think, you know, that's the only first time I probably recognised, and I staffed it on the sidelines, and maybe even the players, I don't know, you'd have to ask them. Yeah, we're over the line here. It's been my top 3 games of all time. I say I love the Great Britain concept, the rugby league concept. And I absolutely loved playing against Australia. People call them days at the office now. No, we were in the Colosseum. We were taking on the best team in the world, and we'd beaten them. It was just great. It's why you play sport, why you're involved in sport. You want moments like that. It's what we should all aspire to in whatever walk of life we do. Whether we can't get that, find some moments where you've done something particularly well in your own environment. And there are certain moments that you know why you do the job, and that was one for sure.